Today, we are unpacking a topic that has honestly completely shaken the foundation of the medical world. We're talking about GLP-1 weight loss drugs. Now, for the over 1 billion people globally dealing with obesity, this isn't just some catchy headline. We are literally looking at a potential medical revolution for one of the most widespread chronic conditions of our time. Which leads us to a pretty profound question. Can we simply inject obesity away? I know it sounds like pure science fiction, but for the very first time in medical history, we might actually have an effective, reliable treatment that makes this possible. And the adoption rate is just staggering. Over 1 in 8 US adults have already tried these drugs. That is a massive scale, and because of it, we're witnessing something completely unprecedented. Literally, for the first time in history, the country's obesity rate is actually falling. Section 1. The modern obesity trap, an evolutionary mismatch. Okay, let's dive into this. We so often treat obesity like it's just a simple failure of personal willpower, right? But really, it's an evolutionary trap. On one side, we've got our ancient biology, forged in ancestral scarcity. Basically, our brains are hardwired to survive by binging on rare calorie bombs, sugar, fat, and salt. But compare that to our modern reality of absolute abundance. Our food environment is literally engineered to hijack that exact biology. You walk into a grocery store today, and about half the products are hyper-palatable, ultra-processed foods that make our brain's reward centers just go completely ballistic. And here is the truly scary part. It doesn't even take a daily binge to fall into this trap. Just 10 pounds. Obesity happens incredibly slowly. If you eat just the equivalent of, say, half a Snickers bar over your daily caloric limit, that compounds into 10 pounds of fat in a single year. So it's a slow, subtle creep. It's not this sudden, massive loss of control. So you might be wondering, why don't traditional diets fix this? Well, behavioral methods fail so often because once you lose the weight, your body actively fights against you to get back to its previous fat baseline. Beating that requires a permanent, highly restrictive lifestyle change. Plus, so many people suffer from what's called genetic food noise. It's this constant deafening urge to eat. And even after they lose weight, those dysregulated hunger signals stick around. The body just fights back with relentless hunger. Section 2. Your hunger is hormones, the biological orchestra. We really need to stop viewing hunger purely as a conscious choice. Instead, start seeing it as a complex chemical symphony happening inside your body. And the star player in this biological orchestra is GLP-1, or glucagon-like peptide 1. This is a totally natural hormone that your body releases right after a meal. Think of it as playing a quiet little satiety song to curb your appetite and tell your brain, hey, we've had enough. But there's a catch. Naturally, this song is incredibly short. It fades away barely 2 minutes after entering your bloodstream. Let's see how this builds step by step. It triggers a very precise chain reaction. Step 1, you eat a meal. Step 2, that GLP-1 is released into the bloodstream. In step 3, it tells your pancreas to release insulin to keep your blood sugar in check. And finally, step 4, the brain gets the signal, ramping up those physical feelings of fullness and satisfaction. Section 3, the GLP-1 revolution, turning up the volume. This is exactly where medications like Ozempic and Mounjaro enter the picture, and they are absolute game changers. These drugs are artificial GLP-1. They play that exact same satiety song in your body, but they play it so much louder. And incredibly, it lasts for up to a whole week instead of just 2 minutes. They send this steady, persistent signal that dials down your appetite 24/7. So for people who are tormented by that constant genetic food noise we talked about, this completely erases it. I absolutely love this quote from the source material because it perfectly captures what the patients are actually feeling. Suddenly, you are dieting without expending willpower, without really thinking about it. It feels magically effortless. I mean, wow. Just imagine the incredible psychological relief of having your biology finally stop screaming at you for food. The drug changes the biology, and that effortlessly changes the behavior. Section 4, Miracles and Side Effects, the data behind the drugs. The compounding timeline of these medications brilliantly illustrates why everyone is talking about them. After just 3 months, patients are seeing a 10% weight loss. At 6 months, it's over 15%. And by 1 year, patients can reach over 20% weight loss.
To put that into perspective, historically, achieving this extreme level of weight loss was really only possible by going under the knife for bariatric surgery.
But it goes way, way beyond just losing fat. Let's rapid fire through some of these stunning secondary benefits. Semaglutide is cutting the risk of stroke or heart attack by 20%. 17 months on Tirzepatide crashes the chances of developing diabetes by a massive 66%. And get this, turning up that GLP-1 signal actually seems to quiet other neural pathways, reducing unhealthy cravings for alcohol, nicotine, cannabis, and even opioids. It's also lowering inflammation, reducing sleep apnea, and is even being studied right now for potentially slowing down Alzheimer's. Now, we definitely need to ground the excitement here for a second, because these are not side effect-free miracle shots. Common side effects include nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and constipation. More rarely, in well under 5% of people, you can see serious issues like pancreatitis, kidney problems, or gallbladder disease. But please pay close attention to this hidden risk: severe muscle loss. Whenever you have a steep calorie deficit, you absolutely need resistance training and plenty of protein. Otherwise, you're going to lose vital muscle along with the fat, which is highly detrimental to your overall health. Section 5, the uncomfortable truth: not a permanent free pass. Now, what's really interesting here is what actually happens when the medication stops. We have to address the elephant in the room. A massive 25% of people regain a significant chunk of the weight right back. Another 20% regain all of it. The remaining 55% only maintain their weight loss by making profound, lasting habit changes, or honestly, by simply staying on the drug indefinitely. Because without a true lifestyle change, taking these drugs is effectively just an unhealthy crash diet. Yet, even with all of that, the public health potential is just undeniable. A recent study projected the impact if millions of U.S. adults used GLP-1s for just 2 years. We would see a 50% drop in total U.S. obesity, and an astonishing 26 million cases of diabetes prevented. The sheer scale of human suffering that could be alleviated here is massive. Of course, accessibility is a huge issue. The biggest hurdles right now are extremely high prices and really intense supply shortages. It's locking out a lot of the people who need the treatment the most. But there is a silver lining here. Upcoming patent expirations mean increased production is on the horizon, and those prices are pretty much guaranteed to collapse in the near future. So the core takeaway is summarized perfectly by this quote: "They gain us the time we need to fix the root causes of obesity." These drugs are not a magic wand, right? They don't do the hard work for you. But what they do is buy you a crucial window of time free from the crushing pressure of relentless biological hunger, allowing you to actually build the healthy habits required for a long, healthy life. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Are we ready for a world where willpower comes in a syringe? It's a huge question. It forces us to entirely rethink human biology, behavior, and honestly, the very future of medicine. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this look at the data gave you a fascinating new perspective on the GLP-1 revolution. Keep asking questions, and I'll catch you next time.